Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I'm Gad, your host. It is exactly 6 p.m. Sunday night, 2 days before the super full moon. February 17, 2019 is the date. A viewer who recently had her birth natal chart analyzed, uh, she requested this for a male she knows, and his is on the left, hers is on the right. So we're going to analyze his chart, and then we're going to see what the connection is between the two, if any. And me personally, you can notice just similarities a little bit, just how everything's on the other side of both charts. Like that's a similarity. But we'll get started. So right away, his first house is the EP in Capricorn. Now Capricorn is that an old soul, generally an old soul. Uh, First house is ruled by Aquarius. First house is ruled by Aries. And so this will be Capricorn and Aries energy of the first house. Capricorn could be, the Capricorn itself rules the 10th house. That's your career and reputation. But a Capricorn energy could be somewhat of a old soul and can be a little bit more serious minded. But each person is different. They don't have to be really very serious. Like I work for a female. I worked with a female at one time who was a Capricorn. Worked for her for 2 years, and I never saw her not looking good. And I don't know how she did it, because she didn't have a car, so she was always relying on somebody else to drive her around. And also, she had like at least 2 jobs, so she would have to get somebody to drive around on these different jobs. And both of these jobs were nowhere near each other. But I never saw her look like she had to rush and got dressed. So she always looked good, was always working. So these are some of the traits of Capricorn. And sometimes it could be serious, but it just depends. Now, right away, you see the EP. Now, the EP is like the heart of the sun, or the ego. And it's at 8 degrees, and even 8 degrees, or 8 degrees. So you are dealing with you can be dealing with the 8th house of Scorpio with this. You can also be dealing with the tarot cards, the 8 degrees, but see, they do it differently. 8 degrees could be the Strength card, which is Leo energy or the Sun energy, because the Sun rules Leo. But it could also be the Justice card, because some do it reverse. Some it's number 8 for the Strength card, some it's number 11 for the Strength card. So you got to remember that. And it can be brought out, but see, you got to go to the very next card. The very next degree is the Curious, the Nurturer, Asteroid, and that's 14 degrees. Then that's Temperance energy, and that's Sagittarius energy, the Temperance card. So it's a lot of maturity with them, because Sagittarius is kind of mature. That's the 9th house too. Capricorn is his 12th house, so it's a lot of maturity with the guy. But 14 degrees is also the Angel of Time card, which is the gates of hell. So when you see that, that's also messing with 8 degrees. That's also messing with the 8th house, which is considered the underworld, ruled by Pluto, because Pluto rules Hades. So he's got all this in his personality. But like I said, the more we wake up, you're going to realize we are a spirit having a physical presence. And our spirit knows all this stuff. Like all the stuff is telling us when you be hearing about people talk about DNA and stuff like that. So in order to really understand your natal chart, these truths have to be told. And some people want to stay dumbed down. All they want to know is bubblegum astrology. Where's my twin flame? When am I going to find love? What about money? What about job? But it's dumbed down. But unfortunately, the universe is waking people up. And if they keep staying with bubblegum astrology, the universe is going to start shaking them up, because they can't stay asleep no more. Just like if anybody else was asleep and they had to get up, You're gonna do everything. At some point, you are gonna put your hands on that person, start check, and you'll see. Just keep an eye on all that stuff going on the weather and volcanoes and tsunamis and earthquakes and all this fire, lava coming out of the earth and all this crazy stuff, because they have to wake up. Because if they stay asleep, they will die eternally. So they have no choice but to wake up, which is why when you study, say, a transit chart or a space chart, if you notice last year, the true north node stayed in Leo for a nice amount of time. And even though the true north node left Leo and now went into Cancer, the Leo's heart went into Virgo. So now this full moon is dealing with a Regulus, which is the heart of the Leo, and the full moon is in Virgo at 0 degrees. And Regulus happens to be at that anaretic or karmic degree of 29 degrees. So these are significant times. And people act like they don't feel it and stuff like that. But there's no way you have to feel it. You just don't realize what you're seeing. Like I'm literally telling you, I know people that are losing their mind at this time. And RFG Chosen One told you that with the blood moons and all these super full moons coming back to back, that people are, that's why they call it a lunar, or they go lunatic. So this is why you want to bring your life in harmony with your life purpose as seen through your natal chart, because any of those things could happen to you as well. The more you are in harmony with your natal chart, which is in harmony with the Mother Universe, Mother will always look out for you. And you can see a lot of Native Americans agree with that right out here on YouTube. So this is where you need to be. And definitely never bubblegum astrology. You do yourself a disservice, and you also, in my opinion, you could actually be putting yourself in danger. All right, let us continue. So now, at 25 degrees is Juno. So that means he will find himself in a serious relationship with somebody of a Capricorn energy or a Aries energy, but it could also be any of the energy of any of those numbers that I was naming. But primarily it would be maybe Capricorn or Aries. And I'm telling you, it would be pretty much a serious relationship, because Juno is serious and Capricorn is serious. And I used to crack a joke that I said, remember, Saturn rules Capricorn. And whenever I would see Juno with Saturn, I would say that's a very serious relationship, because Juno is the daughter and Saturn is the father with the shotgun. You will marry my daughter, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you can see this will be somewhat of a serious relationship. So, having said that, you can take a look over on this chart, and you see Aries. Very unique house, and that's her first house too, but her 0 degrees EP and her AC at 1 degrees. So that is her first house. So her natal chart, I probably said this before, her natal chart is in perfect alignment, meaning her first house is Aries, her 12th house is Pisces, her 7th house is Libra, so it's in perfect alignment with the chart. So as you see, her Aries is at it's retrograde though, so that denotes some type of a wounded healer. But you're looking for any connection between Juno and Capricorn on this chart and anything on this chart. And that's her true north node at 17 degrees, and they're telling you it's going to be a karmic. Her life purpose is karmic, but 17 degrees is also, I believe, the star card, which is Aquarius energy. So whenever you see stuff, that's the first connection, and then you look for deeper, because sometimes it could be soulmate, and sometimes it could be twin soul. Twin soul, same soul, different body. That's twin flame, same thing. And then soulmate is anybody in your soul family, your soul tribe, but it is usually somebody you got a closer relationship with. Or they definitely have a purpose with you. Or have had a purpose with you even in previous lives. Alright, so we'll continue on. Okay, so we'll look at that 25-degree. Just give me one moment. 25 would be a person who's analytical, intuitive. They can be introspective, spiritual, team-oriented, curious, love to search out knowledge and wisdom. So remember this. This is their Juno. So this is how they'll be with the person they're going to be in a serious relationship with. And this they say, you know, it's an old soul because this type of person is going to be perceptive and wise beyond their years. And sometimes this person spends time alone so that they can get all this information in. They can also be sensual as well. They can be complex but logical. So again, this is at 20. It's at Juno 25 degrees, so that could be him or the serious person he's in a relationship with, or will be, or both of them together. So we move right into the second house, and again, you have good fortune right at 27 degrees, and again, 27 is the two of them working together for world kind. That's why you see Aquarius right there, world kind. And the second house is ruled by Taurus, but they have Aquarius right there, helping out friends, associations, and families in the community around them. So their second house, so his first house is sort of like his 10th house, because his first house is also going to be like his career, because the Capricorn rules the 10th house. And then his second house is going to be ruling his connected to his 11th house. And as you can see, right in his 11th house is Scorpio. Now, part of fortune again is showing you that circle with the X in the middle. That's part of fortune, also called good fortune. So we'll look that up to get the explanation for that as well. So part of fortune in the second house You must discover what's really important in life and stick by it. What makes you feel safe, secure, on solid ground. Second house, about security and about things. You must only have things that reflect the true you. Think that painting your second cousin's created is ugly? Don't keep it out where you can see it. Be brave. Don't fall into fads and other people's expectations of what is value. You've earned luck with money unless there are difficult aspects to your part of fortune or other planets in the second. Your projects and goals have to be in keeping with your true values in order for them to be financially successful. And I heard before, if you have part of fortune in your second house, you pretty much will always have money. Your opposing position is the 8th house of other people's money and possessions. The trick to balance here is to discern what is yours from what belongs to others. This also applies to sexual values. Be your own person, and unless it harms others, indulge in your own sexual values. All right. And again, what I just read ties into his 11th house. And it's apropos because there goes Scorpio, and Scorpio is known for having sex. Also secret stuff, freaky stuff. So always make sure you know what's in your 8th house. Sure you had that free report. And if not, I can just email it. But always know what's in your 8th house, especially in your 12th house. Because it's a lot of stuff there. Because his 11th house is his 8th house. Because of Scorpio. And you see all that's there. So really anything going on in his second house with that Aquarius is really connecting right to that second house with all that activity. Third house is Pisces. So a lot of times when I see Pisces in the third house, I say this could even be a Sunday school teacher. But the third house is about young people or young-minded people. Doesn't have to be small kids because a lot of adults are immature. It could be those type of adults. They're immature. It's about communication. It's very mental. House number 3 and house number 5 are very creative. Gemini rules house number 3. And with that super full moon in just 2 days, the ascendant is Gemini. And the moon itself, the moon will be in Virgo. So there's going to be a spiritual or an inspirational person. And again, this is his third house. It's all about publishing. But that Pisces rules his 12th house. And then there goes Sagittarius, which is also about publishing. And then you have Neptune right there, who rules Pisces. So tell me something about publishing and teaching, because Sagittarius can be a teacher as well. And Gemini, the third house, represents short distance travel. Like I said, any type of spiritual communication. It could be with brothers and sisters, your siblings. It could also could be with the community among you, and smaller children or adults who are a little immature, a little not where they need to be. It's all in the third house. And again, it's going to be spiritual. So really anything going on in the 12th house might also go on here, and anything going on here might also go on in the 12th house, because Pisces is about sacrifice. Now, the 4th house is that Aries energy, and then Aries rules the 1st house, where there's Capricorn. So his 4th house of family, the 4th house is teenage to adult education, land and property, real estate, family or the ancestors, a person's heart or vehicles in travel, and whatever woman raised this person when he was younger. That's Imum Quelli. That would be the Imum Quelli of the mother, and she'll be in his subconscious mind throughout his entire life. And usually, this is Cancer rules this 4th house, and the moon, when the moon rules Cancer, you know it's talking about Imum Quelli. So something happened there with a lot of aggression. We don't know what it was, but maybe somebody left, maybe dad left. something, but it's a lot of aggression with this person. Then you go to the very next sign. Virgo rules that sign. No, let me do it again. Leo rules that sign, and he's got a wounded healer at 8 degrees. So once again, that's why I said that 8 degrees can be Scorpio, and Scorpio can be sexual, because Taurus in the fifth house. The fifth house is all about fun and pleasure and creativity. So Taurus is extremely sexual in the fifth house. The whole wanting massages. Taurus is a very sensual sign. Could be food and having sex. The whole thing. At that 8 degrees, really representing that sexual secrets and sex in the eighth house, Scorpio. And Taurus is not good with money, because if Taurus is out and they can have gambling or whatever, like Taurus will just get caught up in a moment, and they're not really thinking, because they get caught up in a moment, and like they get, even if they was winning, they won't know when to stop, and then they be done lost it. And also, when you have Aquarius in the second house, especially with Taurus in the fifth, that's a person that'll fall for stories. Somebody say, "Oh, listen, man, oh, this happened to me," and they just don't check it out, and they be giving their money to somebody that's lying to them. So Taurus has to, anybody with Aquarius in the second house and Taurus in the fifth has to be very careful with money. And again, Taurus in the fifth would also be relationships, so you have to be on guard with that, to tell that person, "Oh no," or let me make the money decisions, because you are not firm with your money. Then you go number 6, house number 6, Gemini in the 6th house. Now remember, the 6th house is ruled by Virgo, and it's going to be about service, health, healing, daily activities, daily duties, whatever job you're doing daily, or daily activities, small children, small animals. And again, this guy's going to have some type of connection with younger ones, because you keep seeing it. Small children, co-workers, and subordinates. But this is also your publishing house again. Like everything I said in the third house will probably be going on here too. And because the third house got Pisces in it, once again he's kind of service minded, or he'll be caught up in service, and you'll see him caught up with some form of service, but also communications as well. And that's why this moon is going to be moon in Virgo, but the ascendant is in Gemini. So it's definitely going to affect his 6th house, as well as his 3rd house, as well as where you see Virgo at up there. Looks like his 9th house. So he will have some type of service, but it will be kind of short, whatever that could mean. That could be like any the 6th house can have any type of service or home related service, from house cleaning to food services, but it might have some travel involved in May. Now, 7th house again. Now you got the 4th house and the 7th house. So he's unrelated, because the 7th house is the Libra rules the 7th house. That's business partnerships, the law, karma. It's serious love. It could be graveyards as well, the house number 7. And I think it also deals with enemies or open enemies. But he's got the family there. So he really is a family-minded relationship male. But anything I said about his 4th house will also be going on in his 7th house, because of the Cancer energy. And that includes that Aries, that might mean aggression. See, because Aries is the 1st house, and it's usually opposite the 7th house. Because Aries is I am in the 1st house, and should be like we are and the 7th house. But he's kind of got a little messed up there because he's still got the Aries energy going into the 7th house. So he has to be careful. Because other people may not want to put up with that Aries energy. Now, ironically, they don't put the vertex in his 7th house of relationships. They put the vertex in his 8th house. So you have to be very careful with that. Because you gotta ask well, is this gonna be a serious relationship? Or is it just gonna be like highly sexual or a highly emotional, or all the stuff going on in the 8th house? Because you're asking yourself, well, if it was a serious relationship, why ain't something in my 7th house, or things like that? So ironically, you know how his Juno got 25 degrees? Now look at his vertex. It's got 2 degrees and 25 minutes, but it still got that number 25. So that just gives you a little hint, maybe, that it's the same person. We really don't know. But the vertex is your fate or your destiny. Fated events or destined events. It could be your soulmate, or it could be your twin soul or your twin flame, because they're the same person. Twin soul, twin flame. It could be a significant breakup or a significant event. But whatever it is, it's going to have that Leo energy, and it's going to have that Scorpio energy, because the 8th house is run by Scorpio. So once again, you go back to the 5th house, and you see Taurus there. So remember, because Leo likes to play and have fun, and Leo can be very sexual as well too, depending on what house you put him in. So all this is going on. So now you got Jupiter with 5 degrees energy. And remember that 5 could connect to Leo, because Leo's in the 5th house. So now the number 5, again, is Taurus energy. And that's Taurus, because Taurus is the Hierophant. So once again, you got that whole sensual Taurus, number 5, 5th house going on together. So whoever he's going to be getting busy with, he really going to be getting busy. And he just got to make sure he got some stability going on. Because first off, it looks like he's not really being worried about the money. And the second and 5th house. But then he's being highly sexual in the 5th house and the 8th house. And the Taurus can get you married. So can Jupiter can get you married. So that 5 degrees is Taurus. Ironically, also at 25. So you got 225. So I don't know who he got, but his Juno love to get down. Like, she's gonna be they're gonna be banging it out if they're not already doing it, if he already met her or whatever. But at 25, because it did say Central. I was getting ready to say, did it say Central? It did say Central. And Taurus is Central anyway. Taurus is Central without the number 25. So they definitely going to be banging it out. And the universe going to be blessing them with money too, because of it. Now, we're still going to look up the number 5. But ultimately, because right now it's funny, on a recent chart, I think it's the full moon chart. Mars is in Taurus right now. So since we are talking about that, let's go check that out real quick. I want to pull up the most recent full moon chart, but give me a moment to find it. Here it is. So I'll be looking at it. Yep. So right now, with that full moon on February 19th, 2019 at 10:53 a.m. Tuesday, Mars will be in Taurus in the 12th house. Because a lot that could mean a lot. It could still be sensuality, because sometimes Mars can just mean passion. It could still be sensuality, things in it. But ironically, Mars is at 3 degrees, and then Juno is in Gemini, the next house over, but at 3 degrees again. So again, they're telling you something about that 3 degrees and then stuff that'll be going on as well. But Mars and Taurus can be sensual and sexual, but Mars and Taurus could also be battling over finances, because see, Taurus represents your finances, possessions, and your value system. So it might be something testing you in these areas. And then the EP is at 16 degrees, and that's again Mars. That's the Tower card. Something coming down with the Mars energy. So there's going to be a shakeup in the 12th house, and the full moon chart is aligned just like my birth chart. With the ascendant being the first house being Gemini, and the final house, the 12th house, being Taurus. So these things will be a kind of shake up in these areas, and each person will be different. For some it might be financial, for others it might be sexual, for some it'll be both, but it's going to be some type of Mars energy shaking it up, and that whole Taurus thing. And ironically, like Taurus is the priest. He's card number 5. He's the Hierophant. He's the Pope. But what you see, all these popes are starting to get exposed and getting in trouble, and it is fucking their money up. Because one guy right out here in Jersey, they just listen. Now the funny thing out here in Jersey, there's a man that used to be like a Catholic priest, and when he found out what was going on, he started talking about it. So they told him to be quiet, and he wouldn't be quiet. So then he ended up leaving, but he started his own organization out here. Now, when I was in a doctor's office, I was reading this magazine called New Jersey or something. So I saw that man. So I began to donate to his cause, and I've talked to him through emails. But I told him it was coming. I said, listen, these priests are about to get exposed. I commended him for being brave. And I said, these priests are about to be exposed. And sure enough, right out here in New Jersey, they blew all them priests up. And a lot of those priests are losing jobs and stuff. So that's what you see going on right now. So let me get this real fast. I believe his name is there he goes, Mr. Robert Holtzson. He was a man that was a priest and left it, and his website is Road to Recovery, and that place helps all these children that have been molested by priests and all that stuff going on. And the Pope was forced to do his job because he was covering up, and one of the most powerful men just got kicked out recently. That was in Yahoo News today. So that's the Taurus shakeup. Now, so having said that, I want to look at the number 5 and the number 3. Three can be creative because it's potential, but 3 can also deal with children too, because the 3rd house deals with children. They say 3 can be optimism, luck, abundance of energy, but it can also be short-lived. It can also be a person who learns from mistakes. So they say when you see number 3, it's still good to go deeper, maybe find deeper meaning, spiritual meaning. Because even the Empress, all she's doing is like growing. But it is children, but they have to grow and continue to grow to adulthood. But the greatness of 3 is it doesn't necessarily have to be rushed. I guess it all depends on what you're doing. But when you're dealing with children, you want them to enjoy their youth because you only get your youth one time. So you don't want to rush that. But it might be something else you may want to rush if it was a 3. So 3 can be artistic. So that's what I'm saying. So if you see Taurus and Mars at 3 degrees, that's what it is. Especially in the 12th house, because the 12th house is about incarceration, prison and stuff like that, and buildings like courthouses. That's what it is. The Taurus is the priest or the Pope, And the number 3 is the children that he's molesting. And now he's in the 12th house, which means it's lockup time. Judgment time, lockup time. And that's exactly what you see that's going on in the news. And it's like this full moon, watch and see. This full moon going to rock 'em, sock 'em. If y'all was little kids that say rock 'em, sock 'em robots, that's what you're about to see. Now, if you don't know what a rock 'em, sock 'em robot is, just go right on to YouTube and check it out. And that's the game we used to play little kids. See the little kids playing it now. Duking it out. That universe about to put a whooping on these people. And I can't wait. I'm having a ball. I don't know if y'all heard about the Southern Baptists. Now, these was a whole bunch of so-called Reverend Protestants or whatever. One of the biggest religions out there, Southern Baptists. Everybody know them. And they were hiring known reverends and pastors and all that. They knew these men were child molesters. And they was hiring them. And also, whether you believe or not, but you're going to have the proof because all these people are getting arrested. They have been child trafficking right through the churches and stuff. And y'all going to be learning about underground stuff they got where they be doing this with these kids and stuff. Like they have a famous politician saying, because I'm sure y'all heard of Pizzagate. There's a famous politician talking about we need to get new blood. But if you go to RFG Chosen, when he's telling you how the elite be sacrificing children and stuff. But what's sad about it is they've always known about it. You could go back over 20-something years. Just check out Chick Publishing, Chick Publications. I remember reading this back in 1991. That's 28 years ago. And all they've been doing is and getting away with it. So like all these missing children, where they go? But let them want to find a black man they looking for. I bet you they find his ass though. They find him quick as out, but they can't find none of these kids. So that's why you know it's bigger than what you're being told. But God has said enough. So now you're beginning to see everybody get exposed and people getting locked up. And they got all kind of special prisons for these people. From underground with chains to open them up prisons that was closed, getting them ready for these people. They're going to be putting them in. And the laws have changed. It ain't going to be all that stuff that used to be. So all this is going on now. So that's why I say this is not a time to be going to sleep. This is a time to be knowing what's on your natal chart so you can be prepared for it. Because as above, so below. And that's why I say all these people running from their natal chart are using it for the wrong reason. Just going halfway. I just want to know about love. I just want to know about money. I don't care about none of that other stuff. You going to care when Rock'em Sock'em Robot hit your ass. Because that's where we at now. And it's my job to tell it. Because I'm not watering down Jack. All right, so let's keep it moving. This is why the True North Node was in Leo for much of last year, and now the Regulus is the heart of the lion is in Virgo with this full moon at 0 degrees when the full moon gets there. So and that's all about the purification because that's Mother Mary is Virgo, and then that's the purification, and then the Leo is about the heart, the integrity, the truth. All right, so now we want to do that number 5. Let me see if we was done with number 3. Now, number 3 can be egotistical. That's like for immature people. And what I didn't know, but number 3 is associated with Jupiter. And ironically, Jupiter's right there. There's no number 3, but it's right there. But 2 plus 3 would be 5. And number 3 is also associated with Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. But number 3 is also associated with wisdom and insight. But guess what? Number 3 was also associated with gambling, conceit, also his love affairs, and love affair scandals. So when number 3 does not use their energies constructively, they begin to fall. So 3 can mean rising and falling. If you apply to number 3 correctly, it'll keep you in tune with nature. And they even tell you 3 attracts much luck, much luck. All right, and now the number 5. And what they do, they don't really give you the number 5. They really give you the number 555. So I've been pretty much gave it to you with the Hierophant, but I'm gonna look a little bit as well. But then number 5, you do have to be careful, because sometimes the number 5 can be something like Uranus or chaos, anything coming out of nowhere, and that's not always a good thing. All right. See, they say 5 can mean marriage. Like I said, that's the Hierophant. Five is the number of human being, and there you have the Hierophant card. And they say 5 is the number of Mercury, but it's also Taurus, because the Hierophant card is Taurus energy. Number 5 is lucky for Gemini and Virgo. And now remember, the moon is going to be in Virgo for the full moon at 0 degrees, and the ascendant is in Gemini. This is why sometimes past lovers might come back, or you might start dreaming about them. And some people can speak telepathically to their twin flames and stuff like that through dreams. Or even it might be somebody you work with. Something might pop off. Anything could happen. I'm just reading more than 5. So Luther has a Luther rose. I never heard of that till today. 5 symbols in the Luther rose. The 5 symbols are the cross, faith, the heart, love, the white rose, peace, the blue sky, heavenly joy, the yellow circle, eternity. 5 great lakes. All right. So let's continue. And then you have Lilith at 10. And remember, that's again Jupiter energy, because that's the Wheel of Fortune card. That's Jupiter energy. So it seems to me that that person it'll just be great all over. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of great sex, and then the universe is going to be blessing them. So that's definitely like what they tend to call sex magic. And again, that would be with anybody with a Leo or a Scorpio connection. Now, when you look over at her chart, she has Juno. Her Scorpio has Juno right there. See that? Now that's his. Yeah, that's his 8th house. So that's his 8th house as well. Doesn't have Juno in it, but it has all that going on. But it does have Lilith retrograde as well. Both of them at 20 degrees. All right. And then where her Leo is, it's nothing really there. Now, 9th house, Saturn and Virgo energy. So once again, we see a Virgo connection to Saturn, because sometimes Saturn points to a past life experience as well. So we're still dealing with the Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo energy. And that's also his true north node at 26 degrees. So now that's his present life purpose. Virgo in the 9th house. So we want to go right across from this house. And that would be his south life, his past life, his south node, which would be Pisces in the 3rd house. And then when you go to his 12th house, where Pisces is, there's Sagittarius. And his present life, the true north node, is in the 9th house, which is ruled by Sagittarius. Once again, showing you 8 degrees. So it's a big connection with the 8th house with this man, as well as Scorpio energy. Because as you see, it keeps popping up with the 8. And we already saw what's in that house. It's almost like a physical alchemy, sexual alchemy. And both the number 8 and Saturn could also mean karma. But in this house, it could also be time delay. But it's time delay too with Virgo. And Virgo can also mean healing. And that's also the home. So even when it comes to like even marriage, it might be a type of time delay because of Saturn. But ironically, sometimes Saturn might speed it up. Because Saturn is in charge of your karma as well as your lessons. And again, it brings the seriousness of the situation. So let's see what the 20 to 26 degrees stands for first. So some of the occupations for somebody with a number 26: office manager, politician. And yet I think we are in the 10th house. Are we in the 10th house yet? Let me look at it again. We're in the 9th house. Office manager, politician, event organizer, one who organizes charitable events. And that's the big one is this. 27 indicates communications from the realm of spirit. So that's true north node. And remember, see, like he'll definitely, like right now, and his true north node is Virgo, and that moon is about to enter Virgo at 0 degrees. Now that moon is the great creator. That's like the mother creator, the mother, the divine feminine, and then the sun is the divine masculine. So he's definitely gonna get hit with that. So if anybody was paying attention and taking notes like they should have been, a lot of stuff I see, he'll be bringing it into fruition. He might already started, but I would say within 7 days of that full moon, you'll see him begin to either speak it or actually do it. But he's gonna bring it into fruition. And a lot of times the 9th house deals with in-laws, foreigners, foreign speaking people, but it's all going to be connected to the home and things like that. And even though it's in 2 different houses, that, just a moment. Hello? All right. So it's still that Saturn rules Capricorn. Capricorn rules the 10th house. So this 9th house is still connected to that 10th house in some ways. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. And then in his 10th house, he's got Libra. which is his sun sign. So these can also be legal issues, just to let you know. When you're dealing with the 10th house, and it's just like, could be legal, could be some form of justice. But then when you see Virgo, you also know that it could have something to do with home justice, which is crazy, but I'm going to say it, homeland security. And even you see Pluto there too. So this is really big. So the ninth house, like I said, higher courts, international law, in-laws, philosophy, religion, foreign travel, long distance, or foreign country. So all that could be going on. And with Saturn there, it could be some type of authority figure being involved with all this. But then since Saturn is really going to rule the 10th house, and Libra's there, it could actually imply a law as well. And even it could be somebody's in-laws, but the in-law mother and the in-law father in the ninth house. All right, now this is Aquarian astrology for Saturn in Virgo. Now they're saying these are some of the issues that those with Saturn and Virgo have dealt with through the ages. Mental health, the soul, mind-body connection, nutrition, order and chaos, details, precisions, perfection, service, slave and master, small animals, daily routine, work, avocation, religion, not spirituality, nuns and monks, virgin versus whore, redeeming the whore, redemption, works versus faith, integrity, guru, teaching by example, expertise, focus, economy in all its senses, anal compulsive or wound up too tight, a particular refinement or intelligence, crusade, the Knights Templars, the Knights Templar. So that would be secret societies. Now, we already got from the first house. I said this person's gonna be somewhat very kind of like serious. And when they say a person's anal or compulsive or wound up too tight, that's what that means. Now, I'm not saying this is the case. That could be him. That could be the woman. This chart is all about him and her. Really, it could be either or both of them. So they say you won't find too many people with Saturn and Virgo, because Saturn Virgo is absolutely not about fame or doing something for recognition. Alright, just give me a moment. So they're talking a lot about the virgin goddesses. Diana, Athena. See, and then they say the goddess of the moon, Diana. See, what I'm trying to tell you, all this shit gonna come out with that full moon. Because it's all this is spirit. And you'll see people start acting like these gods and goddesses. So what happens is, with this placement, even though somebody might be, married or motherhood, but with Saturn and Virgo, you see the goddess. You don't necessarily see. Virgo energy is about an identity that does not flow from one's relationship. So it says they may begin life borrowing identities and values, but eventually this becomes painful. As integrity grows, each person with Saturn and Virgo must become their own person on their own terms. So remember I told you guys about time? When I listen to this. This can spread out over 30 years. And it's all about Saturn and Saturn return. The theme, the choices, the agony, the blind endings will all occur between 28 and 30 years. And now they talk about redemption. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why they did his chart that way. And then in his 10th house, they got Libra, which also is going to represent law or courthouse. See, this is universal stuff. And that's why people don't be believing it, but it's as above, so below. You think your life is just about you. Or oh, am I going to find somebody? Where's my love? Where you're like, you like, this is all about these energies. And they live their life through you. And like people think they can get away from it, but you really can't. So Saturn and Virgo is about redemption, the act of forgiveness. So there has to be some type of period of genuine suffering. Now that suffering could be anything. It could be real suffering. It could be a breakup with somebody you care about. It could be anything. They said you should watch the movie called The Mission. You should also watch the movie called Les Miserables, written by Victor Hugo. So forgiveness is vital to Saturn and Virgo. I mean, the way I'm reading it so far, that's what twin flames do, though. But it's like they meet and have this great sex, and it's like I keep trying to tell you about sex magic or whatever. But this great sex, and you're kind of hypnotized by you're wanting it, and then something is done to really break you, and then you go into separation, or you're in all this suffering and all this pain, and then later on they kind of bring the person back to you or something like that, and now you're supposed to try to work through redemption or forgiveness. And I kind of went through that with my twin. I was just talking about all that stuff. So they say this, it doesn't have to be a religious forgiveness, but it has to be your own emotions, your own human emotions. And then they wrote that forgiveness is for your own sake and not for the person's. Now, Pope John Paul II was born with Saturn in Virgo. He was a big lover of the Mother Mary, and after Pope John Paul got shot, he asked for all the information on Our Lady of Fatima, who appeared in Spain in 1917, a miraculous appearance. And he studied all that information. So Pope John Paul forgave the man who tried to assassinate him. He went to the prison where the guy was and actually told him he was forgiven. But he said what they talked about would have to remain a secret. And he said it was a brother he had pardoned and has a complete trust. And they said you can pretty much count on Virgo discretion. So what I'm trying to tell you, astrologically speaking, and that's how I'm calling it, he gonna have some sex that's gonna be all, if he ain't already got it, he gonna have some sex with this woman that's off the freaking chain. And then all kind of hell gonna break loose. Somebody gonna cheat or some crazy stuff. And then he gonna go through a period of suffering. I told you Saturn is time. He gonna go through a period of suffering because of it. But then the universe is gonna bring it back for redemption. Also, Saturn and Virgo are people who are going to be health conscious. Basically, Virgo is the sixth house, but you got the authority of Saturn over it, because Saturn wants to rule over it and regulate everything. So really, that ninth house is basically the sixth house, with Saturn ruling everything, but it's on a higher international or long distance scale, and the court system is higher. Now, whether it's a court system on planet Earth or a universal court system, that's really what's going on. So those with Saturn and Virgo are either the worst examples or the best examples of health. So you have to take responsibility for your health. It's not the government's health or health care. It's not the doctor's health or health care. It's yours. So you have to watch out for your lifestyle choices, alternative, natural, healing modes, preventive health care. And it says, as those of your generation reach positions of power and influence, we can expect to see big changes. But that's kind of where it's at on his chart. That's the power position with Saturn, 9th house, 10th house. So then he started talking about the smoking situation over 30 years. But what happened with the smoking situation was people was always dying of cancer, but it was hard to prove it in court, and sometimes they would get sued. The cigarette company would get sued, but we never found out what it was. But me, I assumed that somebody didn't pay somebody off. But President Clinton waited to right before he was leaving his term in office, when his terms was all because I think he did 8 years. So he waited to the end of them 8 years, and then him and his then Vice President Al Gore, they attacked that cigarette industry, something nasty. And ever since then, the cigarette industry has never had the power that it had back in the day, because they were untouchable. So this is what this person is saying, said over 30 years ago. So now he said Virgo is now concerned with obesity. So he's saying Virgo is really going to start going after obesity. And again, this is what you got, a Virgo moon coming up. And I'm telling you, this is also all about purging and purification. And also it's going to be extending to ecology as well. So for some reason, this person keeps talking about Pope John Paul II. So who knows? He might pop up in as far as people start talking more about him now. And a lot of people don't like this present Pope. I know a lot of Catholics who don't like this present Pope. And sometimes that's what they do. They start talking about a Pope that they do like. So you're going to see a lot of natural healers with Saturn and Virgo. And remember, a lot of evangelical Christians are saying 2 days after the full moon, February 21st, in memory of who they say Billy Graham, who they were comparing to Moses, they're saying a revival is coming. And that's kind of like what you would call a spiritual healing. And that will have the mother of Christianity over it. So you got to remember that. And then right after that is like either Washington's birthday, because Washington is the one who's really giving credit for this entire country. So it's a lot going on. That's why I keep trying to tell you. And that's why people should be familiar with the 400-year prophecy, because there's so much going on. So he said some of y'all that are Saturn and Virgo, y'all are natural healers. And he said you could actually lay the hands on people and heal them. Now that's right before I told you about revival. I didn't know he was going to say that. But this is how the universe is working. Because that's what happens with revivals as well. Healing and stuff like that. So he said these people might be INFP personality types. This is some type of energetic healers or psychic healers. So he's saying you're going to see more of these healers as well. Now, the whole Saturn and Virgo has a legacy tied to Greece with all the Greek goddesses. And Apollo also was a healer. Now he's talking about healing with crystals, herbs, laying on of hands, energy work, therapeutic massage, nutrition, healing diets. This is all a natural province of Saturn and Virgo. And remember, Saturn is equated to Saturday. So this healing will take place with the resurrected understanding of the mind and body, any type of healing. And he said, remember, any illness is a mental illness. That's what he said. And he said, even doubt and worry, you got to get healed from that. And it's funny because I just did a natal chart where they said the woman was a worrier. Then he starts talking about rituals which are natural to Saturn and Virgo. Many of you with Saturn and Virgo are true pagans, your earth worshippers, your nature spirits. You are interested in pure water, fresh air, clean, healthy bodies. The nature religions such as the Wicca and paganism may provide a welcome avenue for expression as well as working in the field of ecology and ergonomics. Less is more. Less is more for Saturn and Virgo philosophy. And it's funny how he should say philosophy because Saturn is in Virgo in the 9th house, and that is the house of philosophy. But this man doesn't know that. Whoever wrote this article doesn't know that. Saturn in Virgo values solitude. And these could be nuns and monks by nature, preferring to live alone or in monastic-like communities. And now she mentions Saint Francis of Assisi, who Pope Francis named his name after. And she says Saint Francis of Assisi spoke of brother sun and sister moon. And that's what I just got finished telling you about who's going to be speaking at the 26 degrees. So then he says slave and master. Saturn and Virgo, slave and master. And that's funny because that's what this whole 400-year prophecy is about. Vengeance for the slaves. Then he says, ideally, we should all properly aspire to acknowledging God or the higher power as our master and not another human being. Ask yourself, whom do I serve? That's interesting. That's the second person down with astrology today I saw really advocating the Most High God, because you don't always see that. So every Saturn return is something that is overcome. Saturn in Virgo is a respect and ambition for service. This person may have athletic or artistic ability. So let's do it again. So now we go back to the first house, which is about career, because Capricorn's there. And Capricorn rules the 10th house. And then we go to the 9th house, which Virgo is your career, believe it or not. Virgo is your daily activities, which can be your job. And Saturn's right there. So once again, we're dealing with the daily job or career in the 9th house. And then you see it again in the 10th house. But now you got Pluto there, which is going to be great transformation. Because when you really understand astrology, they often list your twin flame relationship as your purpose or your job. So if I was to write, now I'm going to just try to look something up. I can't guarantee I'm going to get an answer. But if I say goddess of the 9th house. Oh, but they do have a goddess of the 9th heaven. So I'm going to try to check that out. The 9th astrological house, god of the sun. Interesting. They call this the Lost Horoscope X-Files. And that's what I was going to say. I just saw the Lost Horoscopes. I was about to say, I feel like I'm in the X-Files. And he wrote it. It's right there. He wrote the X-File. So they said the 9th house, god of the sun. Also known as the house of God, according to Paulus. The 9th sign from the ascendant gives signs for the termination that concerns God's dreams and living abroad. But I told you it'd be communication. And that's exactly what they're saying with that number 26. The ninth house represents the speeding through a tunnel through a brilliant light after death. Well, I told you, you have to go to your, I always said that. You got to go to your ninth house to get to source. That's your higher self house after death, or the new perspective that is gained after an intense struggle symbolized by the eighth house. And that's what they said this is going to be. It's going to be an intense struggle with Saturn and Virgo. And I already told you how it's going to go down. That sex is going to be off the hook. And then it's going to get taken away. Or it's going to devastate them. Like somebody going to cheat and going to find it. And that motherfucker going to be fucked up for a while. Nigga walking around. I remember like in this neighborhood back in the day, because I used to play the bass guitar. And then this dude moved in the neighborhood. And so he played the bass guitar. So me and him used to be over the crib. Because my crib used to be the spot that everybody came to for music. And so he threw a party at his spot and his bass got stolen and shit. So he used to just walk around the neighborhood like a freaking zombie and shit. And that's how the dude gonna be walking around. Whoever get hurt by this, that pain gonna hit. That's why I said rock'em sock'em. I think this was the video where I said rock'em sock'em robots and shit. That shit gonna hit. No, see, I've been through all this, so to me, it's easier. It's like when you a boxer. So let's say you was a boxer 5-10 years ago, right? And you don't already did it. You don't already boxed. Somebody done jacked you up in the ring and knocked your ass out and knocked you through them ropes. So to you, it's kind of funny because you done dealt with it. So the person coming up, to them, they don't want to hear you talk like that because they like, oh man, nobody want to hear that. But you kind of letting them know you're gonna get through it. Like that's life. You got to deal. This is life. Don't run from it. It's life. So the sun is going to represent enlightenment and clarity that comes after the struggle. See, that's what y'all looking at. And it's going to be the light at the end of the tunnel. So the sun rejoices in the ninth house. Also, this is time when heat is about to peak. Now, right away, somebody's going to say to me, well, the sun is not in his ninth house. But y'all don't know that Saturn used to be the sun of this planet. There's always been a competition between Saturn and the sun. In fact, Venus, our sun is not Venus's sun. Saturn is Venus's sun. And that's why if you ever watch Planet Venus, she travels any way she wants to. It's been time, and my brother-in-law did it too, because my brother-in-law is a Taurus. So he's very sensitive. He always knows about Venus. He'll call me up and start asking me questions whenever Venus comes back or she's up in the sky. He'll always know. And he does the same thing because she be so bright. I'm here in Jersey. He's in Virginia. But we literally jump in the car and follow her. Because I've never seen a planet move like that. But I have jumped in my car and followed Venus. Because she be moving. So the ninth house is going to help this person heal. That's why Virgo's there. And help him realize what happened. Because that's what you're going to go back. Because, I mean, if something's real, real good, and all of a sudden it just go real, real bad, you're gonna be wondering, how did that happen? So they say when you get together in groups, like if you in a group for healing, I mean, like you got hurt by somebody, or my girlfriend hurt me, and now you in this group or whatever, they say that's a ritual. So it's taking something that's broken, that ritual, all these people, but it's putting back and making it whole again. It's making sense out of it. And they say that's the process of the third house. So you have to remain sane by being able to put the pieces back together. It's a brain process. So now you got to work on the right and the left. in terms of the good and the evil, right and wrong, light and darkness, and you're trying to gain perspective. So that's why I'm trying to tell you, when somebody hurts you or your twin flame hurts you, there's a universal reason for it. And he's saying that dreams and prophecy are another common ninth house theme. Now they say sometimes you get hit with a mystical experience, but it can't really be explained. It has to be taken on faith. This is because as soon as you analyze a mystical experience, its visionary qualities fall apart. So even if he should try to get more familiar with his ninth house. I mean, I went as far as I can possibly go. So, and I'm telling you all that the moon in Virgo on the 19th, the full moon is definitely going to affect the situation one way or another. Even if it's just great sex, but either way, it's going to affect it. Saturn in the ninth. So they said the person with Saturn in the ninth is looking for an experience beyond the border for real meaning in their lives, but the major obstacle is the vision, and this vision is Saturn's tendency to doubt everything. I was never really aware of that, but that could be true. I know Saturn will try to control everything. So they say Saturn in the ninth house, Saturn might cause obstacles and stuff to slow things down because he's teaching you slow and steady and patience. All right, now this is a YouTube video, which I can't play it. Like for me to listen to it, I gotta put this on pause because they will definitely strike me. But we're gonna. It's only 2 minutes 20 seconds, but they go that magic number 22. So a lot of people are talking about philosophy and teaching and stuff, saying there might be obstacles in these areas, even obstacles in travel because of Saturn. But I saw one I wanted to comment on. This is called VedicGrace.com. Saturn in the ninth house. So Saturn may interfere with the right to claim inheritance or anything in the ninth house. And she said it could be property, assets of natural parents or adopting parents or foster parents, or even with regard to gifted property. So it's funny, they're really adding fourth house stuff. But ironically, because of Saturn, you could almost say fourth house, because really Saturn would be in the 10th house, and that is opposite the fourth house. So Saturn might cause a person to get less than what they're supposed to get. And they said some Saturn sitting in your ninth house, it could be relatives, it could be in-laws, it could be your uncle, aunts, cousins. And they may act secretly or openly against your interests in matters related to property or other assets. See, they keep saying assets, but remember, the ninth house really is about travel, education, and sometimes law. So you can see it's so much that could be going on there. But I think I really believe I hit the nail on the head because I have the entire natal chart. And the main thing is sexual. And I'm sticking with it. It's sexual magic. And see, this is definitely some twin flame stuff. That's why they're talking about your higher self. All right. So now you go to the medium coeli. So now now you can perfectly see it because the medium coeli works with the true north node. So really his 10th house and his 9th house are almost together because this is all part of his life purpose. And he's got to go through this. And like I said, it's going to be a brutal breakdown. And it doesn't have to be stuck to emotions. That's why you hear the other person about property and stuff. Whatever it's going to be, it's going to brutally break this dude down, in my opinion. And he's going to have he's going to be like that dude I'm talking about, walking around like a zombie, like just fucked up. And he's going to have to go through a painful process that will lead to healing. Now, his medium coeli, which can often be a feminine or masculine energy, but it's Virgo again. So you can say feminine. Why am I saying it's Virgo? Because it's 9 degrees. Now, 9 degrees is the hermit. But the hermit learns from his own experience and he walks by his own light. So the hermit is not like the hangman. The hangman is Neptune energy and that's 12 degrees. The hangman is by himself, hanging by upside down by himself. But the hermit will go out in the public. He doesn't hang out by himself. They call him the hermit, but he'll go out by himself. He'll go out in the public. But he doesn't go by what they believe. He goes by his own enlightenment. And it's like I said, like a dude like me. So I've been through all this shit. And see, like I be trying to talk and people don't be listening. Oh, he's being mean. No, I done all that shit. All this stuff y'all done, I done already did it. I already know what's up. Very rarely am I going to be like, I'm incorrect because I done seen it over and over again. But people, they just want the experience. But then when they finally get hurt by it, then they be like, oh. And I've heard a lot of people tell me, I should have listened. I should have listened to you. I should have listened to you. So that's why I keep teaching the way I teach. You got to teach what's really real, and then it's up to the listener to either accept it or reject it. But either way, they're going to learn. That's the one thing that's going to definitely happen. So now you got Libra in the 10th house. And again, this can be law, justice, business partners, a serious relationship. I believe open enemies. I think even cemeteries. This is going on. But when you're looking at both of these houses, you know it's going to have something to do with relationship, but it's also going to have something to do with law. And then 14 degrees, like we said, is Temperance or Sagittarius energy, taking you back to the 9th house, as well as the 1st house. And that's on his sun. But it's also the gateway to hell. It's the angel of time. So they really going to take him through some type of process. Because if you notice, they keep, see, you see 14 again. See, that's representing time. And you see 14 again. See, it's something with this person that's going to take him through a process of time. And it's going to be like time by fire. Because that's the sun. It's like, it's literally time by fire. Like, you know, you almost feel like you're burning in hell. Because 14 is the angel of time card. And that's the gateway to hell. So whatever he goes through, it's going to be almost like he feels like he's burning in hell. Because he's going to be so upset, so hurt. And then planet Pluto proves that this is for his own transformation. Because that's what Pluto does. It transfers you. It kills you and then raises you back up. And Pluto takes him back to his 8th house. Because Pluto rules the 8th house over Scorpio. And what do you see? A sun sign. The fire sign, Leo. So that's how you know what I'm telling you is true. He's getting purged by fire. Literally. And when I say literally, what I mean is he's hurt. Figuratively, fire. But literally, it's going to really mess him up. That's what I'm saying. 16 degrees is the Tower card, Mars energy. That's to break you down and then build you back up. Just like I say, y'all got to understand these people are in secret societies. This is why when those 9/11 towers went down, Donald Trump was going, I can rebuild them. I can rebuild them better. He was talking because he already knew. All the stuff you seeing was already planned out. I don't know if it was this video or the other, but I told y'all about Ellen G. White wrote a book in the 1800s about buildings being blown up or bombed down in New York. And remember, there wasn't no buildings that tall in New York in the 1800s. And it was on page 911. Now, she's a prophet. No, she ain't no prophet. She knew. Like, when you're dealing with a secret network, and they can do all this stuff, witchcraft, all the stuff they into. So, they already know in advance what's going to happen. So, then they send these fake-ass preachers out here and all that, and they be acting like they prophets, but they know too. So that when it happens, then everybody, oh, that's a real man because they know, but he already knew what was going to happen. Stupid. It's not that difficult. Just like a good magician, he got to try to make you believe that, but it's not. I mean, just these average magicians, it's just like sleight of the hands and smoke screen and mirrors. But it looks like that. And if you're gullible to believe it, you will. And so now 19 degrees is the sun energy with Mercury. So you got all these gods talking on his natal chart. You got the sun talking, who's ever at 26, which I'm kind of saying it's the moon. It may also be Saturn energy. But remember, these are two different suns because Saturn was here first. Saturn used to be the sun of this planet. And now the sun is the sun. So it's almost like it's a universal legal issue going on. And they're expressing themselves through him and his mate. And as I said, you may choose not to believe that, but that's what's going on. All right. Now his 11th house, again, and it's kind of funny because whenever you see a Scorpio in the 11th house, friends, association, and groups, this can always be like secret societies. This can also be people who, party a lot, or people that, deal with different secrets and whatever, alternative healing, alternative medicines, all kind of stuff. And that's why you have to get familiar with what's in your 8th house and your 12th house. 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, 12th house is ruled by Pisces. And right away you see Mars, but you also see the number 12. Now that's the hangman. So that's the person that goes into what he's doing, nobody knows. Like again, secret societies. And Mars and Scorpio. See, Mars used to rule Scorpio. Mars is the real ruler of Scorpio, but now Mars rules Aries. But again, this is intensity. So now this person says, Mars Scorpios are mesmerizing and are drawn to charisma in others and intense scenarios. They're very intense and they look a little dangerous too. Great stores of emotional power, sexual energies within. And they're saying when you see like Scorpio and Mars, this could be a lot of manipulation, power struggles, could be highly sexual. He even said even energy vampires. Like these people know how to manipulate people and stuff like that. Like they're just very smart. They know how to manipulate the math. Like there's somebody out here on YouTube that does that. He needed something built. He got the people to do it and all kind of shit. They're very good at manipulating people. But they say you can't trick them though. Like they can trick your ass. Like they can manipulate you, but you can't trick them. Cause Scorpio is real like discerning. Scorpio knows shit that there's no way in the world they should know. That's why I say if you dating a Scorpio and you try some slick shit, I feel sorry for you. Cause they're gonna know and you're gonna think you hiding it and they're gonna know and they smart and they know how to flip it. Like they know how to flip it and catch you in your own web or pay and they'll pay you back and they can be real patient. Like when they get you back, they don't have to get you right away, but they're real patient and they never forget. See, even they talking about hell. See how I was talking about hell? Now she talking about hell. She said a shadow Mars Scorpio makes life hell for others because they have a gift for spotting weaknesses and exploiting it. Said Scorpio is a water sign, but Mars here makes it fluid like burning embers. like if you burning in hell and shit. Still waters run deep and emotions are intense and overwhelming. So this is some deep shit. See, like I be trying to tell y'all, a lot of shit y'all just don't want to accept it. But a lot of these people have lived on the planet before. You dealing with spirits and shit. This is all energy and shit. And then they just be coming back in human bodies and shit. And that's why when if you ever study people, you be like, damn, this dude, he don't act like a human. And this dude act like a god and shit from like the Greek myths and shit like that. Because he's in the same spirit. Because this is going to be real. But see, when you see Uranus and Scorpio, it could mean anything chaos, anything crazy happening. And again, it's 14 degrees, gateway of hell. It could mean anything happening, but it can also be people that know how to deal with chemicals and shit. It could be drug shit. It could be like some type of drug shit. But it could also be people that know how to manipulate chemicals and all kind of crazy shit. It could also be like alternate medicines and herbs and stuff like that. But either way, the connotation is it's going to be something done with a group. And remember, because Aquarius is in number 2. But see, Aquarius is in the second house because they're going to be getting money from these people. See, the second house is the money house. And they're going to be getting money from these people. And then they got to know they got to know they have Scorpio there. I mean, they got to know they have Venus there in Scorpio. But see, Venus at 20 degrees. 20 degrees is the judgment card. And that's Pluto energy. So that 11th house is really deeply the 8th house. And this is why they may have a connection to you, because you got your Scorpio. You got Juno there at 20 degrees. But that would be like a soul connection. That would definitely not be a twin flame connection, but it would be a very powerful soul. But this is what I be trying to tell people, because you be like, I know it's my twin because it's so powerful and dreams and all that stuff, but he's just got the power. With all that Scorpio energy and all that 8th house, he's just going to be very powerful. So yeah, you would think it's your twin flame, because the twin flame feeling is very powerful too. And then you go to the 12th house with the ascendant. But once again, whenever your ascendant is in your 12th house, it's because you got some past life stuff going on that still has to be dealt with. And again, you got a lot of, you keep seeing that Sagittarius or higher self energy of the 9th house. And Neptune, see, a person with Neptune and Sagittarius, again, that's a person who's connected not just to the people on the planet, but throughout the universe. And these are the type of people that be giving you movies like Star Wars and the Matrix and stuff like that. So now you see it's Neptune at 15 degrees, which is still Capricornian energy. So all this is taking you back to the 1st house, as well as the 9th house, as well as the 10th house. And the 9th is right there with Sagittarius. And that's also her moon sign, Sagittarius at 21 degrees. So I told you, and I told you the moon was speaking in that 9th house, because number 6 means a God is speaking. That's a higher voice. The number 26, that's what that means. And I said it was probably the moon, but I said it could also be Saturn. So now you got further proof. It's the moon right there. And I'm telling you, this full moon is going to hit this dude one way or another. And also the moon is at 21 degrees, which again is Saturn. So I was right. It's the moon and Saturn. Like, I'm going to tell you something real. You don't have to believe me or not. But my twin, but I've been doing this for a while, so it's like shit I can tell y'all. Like, in 3 different times in my life, I was dating 3 different females, but 3 different times. Now, on 3 different times, they all called me up, panicking, and saying the moment they went to sleep, it felt like somebody was choking them out. 3 different females, 3 different times. And I keep telling you, like, Neptune, stuff like that, that controls your dreams. Now, you don't know who you are, but they gave you a Bible for a reason. But they just switched it up on you. But Jesus is allegedly somebody that came from up above and came down and walked around as a human. But he said he's your role model, and he told you we all going to be one, and you're going to do the same things I do. So he might have been telling you something if you just think about it. How do you know you're not a spirit in a human body? That's why in the Bible, they be calling you, your seed will be like the stars of heaven and all that. Then they say, well, you're really Abraham's seed. Well, if you're Abraham's seed, God said Abraham's seed would be like the stars of heaven. So you really don't know. And then they be calling the angels stars of heaven and stuff like that. So you really don't know. You're going by what some Europeans taught you in your holy books. Because your holy books wasn't owned by them damn Europeans. It was owned by indigenous people. But then the Europeans overthrew them and flipped it and gave you this shit. And now you're worshiping like a white guy. What the dude wasn't white. I'm just being honest. So that's like back in the day you had Ronald McDonald. So every time you saw Ronald McDonald, I want a burger. So you supporting their franchise and shit. So every time psychologically you see this white dude and you think a white dude's supposed to be telling you what to do. So let's just say he wasn't black. Let's just say he was Middle Eastern. So he would still look like a Middle Eastern. He wouldn't look like that. But they fucked your mind over. And people are still caught up. So when somebody tell you the truth, you think they crazy. But no, I'm totally sane. Well, just about. You're crazy if you believe some garbage and keep on believing it when it's proven to be garbage and you believe it anyway. That's crazy. So what I'm trying to tell you, you're seeing it on the chart of who's speaking and all that. Now, so this is some type of karmic situation working with the moon and Saturn as well as the sun, because the ascendant is at 19 degrees, and then even Pallas is 18 degrees, and Pallas is the soulmates. So then you see the moon. What you're seeing here is the moon, Sagittarius, and Saturn. So that's what this is all about. Oh, so I didn't even finish telling you. So now, I've been doing this for a long time. Like I said, I would say more, but people ain't going to believe me anyway. Because what I'm about to tell you, you probably ain't going to believe it. But it was a lot of stuff that led up to this. But, I can prove it. If you go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12, if you notice, Paul starts telling you about revelations. So these spirits or whoever they are, they took him up. And I forget what he said he was at. think it's some part of heaven. All you got to do is read 2 Corinthians 12. But he said he went into paradise. So you say, well, what's paradise? Well, all you got to do is go to Luke chapter 23, verse 43 to 46. And paradise was that darkness. And that's not the only time that anybody went into the darkness. Because Exodus verse 20, verse 21, it said Moses went into the darkness where God was. So whoever they were, they took Paul into that darkness, which is paradise. And if you read Hebrews 12, which is all about these Hebrews that are in America right now, and they're about to be liberated, that's all he talks about is when God came down into the mountains, and the mountains was on fire. That's all in the book of Genesis, well, in the book of Exodus. A couple of places in it, like Exodus 18, maybe 19, but it's another place in Exodus too. So, getting back to 2 Corinthians 12, they took Apostle Paul into that darkness. Same darkness Jesus went into at Luke 23, 43 to 46. He called it paradise. And then in Exodus 20, 21, Moses called it God. So now Paul is becoming a part of this. Just like David talks about being taken into the valley of the shadow of death. These are all initiations. And when Moses went into the clouds and all that, they said when he came back out, his face was shining like God's, that they had to put a veil over it. See, this is shit you should be studying, because that's the real deal. That's the shit they don't want you to know. They want you to be a 30-year-old man playing video games. Like, don't get me wrong. It's nothing wrong with, releasing a little stress or whatever, but you're a fucking 30-year-old man. Are your bills paid? Like, what the fuck? So they got people dumb the fuck down that they get mad at me for telling them the truth, but they don't get mad at themselves. That they're just on some childish shit. And they're old as hell. Like, you're an old adult. There's a time and place for everything. But I hate to tell you this, but the older you get, especially when you start having kids and stuff, you're supposed to be becoming more mature, which means you have less time for the stuff you did as a kid. That's the way it's always been. Apostle Paul said, when I was a kid, I spoke like a kid, acted like a kid. But now I'm a man. I want to act like a man. Because he was telling them the same thing I'm saying. Y'all should be eating steaks and stuff. Y'all drinking milk. So therefore, when somebody's trying to tell you what's really going on in your life and your connections, you think they're crazy. But even if you go to the Native Americans, they speak the same thing. Right now, there's a video on YouTube with an Indian chief. And he said, when you go outside at night and you look up and there's a star that you are attracted to and you can't take your eyes off that one star, he said, that's really where you're from. Now, that's an Indian chief. Like, people that know this. That's why they call all your celebrities stars and stuff, because they know it. And every now and then when these people take that oath, they try to tell you in their music. Like, if you notice the B-52s, they started singing a lot about space shit. Like, listen to their music. Singing about constellation. Now, you're asking yourself, well, why would they be writing all these songs about outer space? And Earth, Wind, and Fire, that's all they sung about. The stars and all kind of great. Why? Parliament Funkadelic, we have returned to take over the pyramids. And why? So it's not so unrealistic. It's just that you choose not to believe it. But either way, it's still going to happen to you. And sometimes when your life becomes horrible, it's because you're not tapped back into your natal chart. Like, I guarantee all these people that are ducking their natal charts are doing it the cheap way, or not dealing with the experts, or not doing it at all. Or I just go to a psychic and just tell me about love. They're going to pay for that profusely. This is why people like the 13th son was telling you, make sure you're showing respect for the planet and the animals and stuff like that, because it's going to come a time when Mother Universe is going to act, and if you haven't respected these things, you getting fucked up in a bad way. And the other experts, every expert I know out here has said, make sure you get your natal chart done. So these people can keep being dumbed down if they want to. There's a reason why they call it dumb, and then they call it down. Because you ain't going to be ascending. So now, you're seeing all this in the 12th house. Remember, any planet in your 12th house is always some type of guardian angel. There's not a website that explains the name of that guardian angel yet, but I'm sure eventually they'll get it. Because I remember when I first started doing this, there was very little information on Lilith. Now there's a whole lot of information on Lilith. Just give me one moment. And remember, so it's a lot of water there because you got Neptune in the 12th. Well, he's got Neptune in the 12th house. And that is ruled by Venus. Well, that is ruled by Pisces, which is water. And then Neptune's there too, water. So he can be an infant. He might be very sensitive. He also may be very emotional. And whenever you see Pallas, that is you and your soulmate. And again, that's either, see, that could be Sagittarius energy, Pisces energy. And remember, the moon used to rule Pisces too. But it could also be some type of water sign. Even Cancer, because now the moon rules Cancer. But the moon used to rule Pisces. And then the ascendant. And remember, now that Pallas is at 18 degrees, which is the moon. Capricorn's at 15 degrees. I mean, Neptune's at 15 degrees, which is Capricorn. Ascendant is the sun, 19 degrees. 21 degrees is the moon, which is Saturn, which we already discussed all these different energies. And then the Vesta is 27 degrees. But like I said, that's the priestess. That's the priest. And also 27 are the people that help others, the diplomats. And Vesta is going to make this 12th house very spiritual. She's very spiritual. But Vesta also, you got to be careful wherever you see Vesta in your chart. You have to know how to take breaks and refresh yourself, or Vesta will burn you out or give you health problems. Now, what type of health problems? Now, all you got to do is find out what body parts correspond with the moon, Sagittarius, Neptune. It'll be those type of problems, any of them or all of them. And also, Vesta in the 12th house is scary because it's all that deals with confinement. Like the 12th house deals with confinement and isolation, and so does Vesta. So when you see a chart like this, talking about international law or higher laws and stuff like that, it's a chance this person may be incarcerated. And it's going to be somewhat serious because you're definitely speaking about Saturn. And if you notice, I kept talking about time and time delays. And that's what happens when you get incarcerated. And you say, well, why would he get incarcerated? It could be any reason whatsoever. It could be false accusations. Could be anything whatsoever. But you do see the possibilities on the chart. So now we did all that, and we did look at his chart to see how many times these two connected. And it wasn't that many, but it was connected under the power of Scorpio. And he is very powerful. So that's why I say, and this is what I be trying to tell you, how some guys can walk in a room and a female almost piss her dress or her pants. Because I work with a guy like that. See it all the time. And the great C Mac, he was like that. We used to sit at the bar and watch them waitresses used to go crazy and shit. And then at the end, I started putting my power on. Because I ain't want nothing to do with none of that shit. I was just hanging out with friends and shit. So C Mac was always talking shit to me. And I would always sit there and take it because I had made up my mind I didn't want to date and shit. But then they kept talking shit to me. So I started getting mad. This was like right before I stopped hanging out with C Mac and shit. So then I started showing them a little bit more and more. And so one day I was with C Mac and we went to like 3 different bars. And every bar I went to, I did it. I turned it back on. See, because I've had conversations. A lot of females that I got to be close with, we never talked. We just worked together and we would just stare at each other. And we would be talking through eye contact and shit. And then I would be like with them females and shit. So C Mac didn't believe me. But he was a hater. He was like a hater. He's competitive. He was a hating dude. But they just made me mad. So I figured I'm gonna stop hanging out with this dude because he's turning into like he's just a pain in my ass. I said I'm getting out of here. So I turned it back on, and I had all them waitresses. I had waitresses coming over. I had like just females in a bar coming over, and it was like 3 different bars. So he was like, "Yeah, what you doing?" He was like, "Yeah, what you doing?" And he just kept asking me that. So what I'm trying to tell you, these type of people, they be real magnetic. So when you meet a person like that, because you've never felt that type of power that he has, I'm calling it Scorpio power, which is very powerful. But it's other stuff too. And the moon can be magnetic and all that shit. Taurus too. Taurus is real magnetic all by itself. So they feel it. So they think, oh no, I know it's real because I never felt nothing like this before. And plus, he's got all that Neptune stuff and all that's your dreams and all that stuff. All that shit's telepathy is Neptune and Sagittarius. So all this shit is going on. And I'm going to tell you all again, y'all don't know who y'all was in other lives, so y'all gonna have a connection anyway. So if you notice, like I said, you see his Neptune in Sagittarius, and she got Neptune in Sagittarius. And then even with the sun, when you see 19, that's still a sun. It's just numerology, but that's still a sun. That's the degree. That 19 degrees is still a sun. That's why I say everybody put this together. Tarot cards. See, I'm a different dude. A lot of people like to just do things off of feelings. I like to prove my shit. I'm like an investigator. I call myself the Black Columbo. Columbo, in my opinion, was one of the greatest detectives in entertainment. Somebody I used to always study and watch and just loved him. Peter Falk did an excellent job as Lieutenant Columbo. So my point is, I like to substantiate it and show it. Other people just want to feel it and believe it. But sometimes you can get yourself in a lot of trouble because when you're just going to somebody, you never know. They could make it up. Like, I watch some of these readers on YouTube, and I'll tell you right now, like, you can't tell the spirit world, oh, I don't do reverse cards. I don't do upside down cards. Who the hell are you? Who gave you the right to tell the spirit realm that you're not going to do reverse cards or upside down cards? And all these people, feel good people out here, they're the ones I'm especially talking about. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to them. Because they go, oh, no, love and light. Oh, I don't say anything negative. Oh, I don't want to hear it. So what the universe is going to do is going to take them people through hell. Because they don't want, like, it's light and darkness. You can't break universal law. Your whole life will be yin and yang, male and female, duality, light and darkness. The moment you start, that's called alchemy. You start trying to manipulate the universal law, therefore it's going to get you. That's why, listen, everybody that hears this going, no, I ain't lying. You just ain't going to want to agree with me. That's why you got all these crazy ass motherfuckers around here with all these crazy ass lifestyles, and they crazy as fuck, but they acting like they not. And this is how they deal with people that tell the truth. They kill their ass. They kill their ass. Like I said, when you read Genesis chapter 19, when they tried to tell those people in Sodom and Gomorrah, the jig is up, God's about to judge y'all, the first thing they said, we're going to kill y'all. See, it's not going to be no logical discussion. All these people be talking about love and intolerance and shit, but they'll kill your ass faster than a thug would. Like I said, when that dude got elected, they tried to destroy shit. They was marching, turning shit over and shit. So these ain't no love and light. So it is what it's going to be, but whether you believe it or not, this universe is about to do a purging and a cleansing, and it's on. You need to get off the video games, stop acting like a little kid all the time, start reading the news again. Right now on YouTube, you got some prophecy people out here. Try to stay up with them, and you can go online in these websites and subscribe to their newsletters, because believe it, you can see it's coming over and over again. Never before in the history of life have they ever invaded and arrested prominent people in the Southern Baptist Church, and come to find out these are all pedophiles, and not only are they pedophiles, but they got underground places for trafficking of children for the same purpose of pedophilia, and they're all going down. And I'm going to tell you something else. A long time ago, I'm going to end this video and ask everybody a question. A long time ago, Dan Aykroyd did a video with Tom Hanks. He did a movie. It was like supposed to be like Dragnet or something like that. And in that movie, that's who they were prosecuting. They were investigating and prosecuting like rich people that are into rituals and killing people and sacrifices and all that shit. Now you got to ask yourself, what made Dan Aykroyd do a movie like that? This is the same guy that gave you Animal House. You know what I'm saying? The same guy that was known as a comedian gave you Neighbors and all kind of crazy shit. The Coneheads and all this crazy shit. So what made him do a movie like that where he's an FBI agent going after pedophiles and shit? That's an interesting question. Y'all should look into that. Find out why. Now, just to make sure, let's just see the connections they got. I'm just looking at both charts. He got Juno in Capricorn. She got True North Node Capricorn. And again, Neptune in Sagittarius, Sun in Sagittarius, 19 degrees ascendant in Sagittarius. So the ascendant is like the sun a little bit, but 19 is definitely the sun. 19 degrees is the sun. he's got nothing but Scorpio. I mean, he's got more than, not nothing but he's got a lot of Scorpio power. She has Juno, and that's her serious one in Scorpio power. She's got Lilith in Scorpio, and I believe that's his 8th house has Lilith. It's interesting. Her Venus is at 0 degrees, which means, well, yeah, it all depends on how the chart is counted. Give me a moment. All right, let me do this. All right, so her Venus is in Scorpio. Her Venus is 0 degrees in Scorpio. So now I can see that. I didn't see that before. 0 degrees in Scorpio. And Juno in Scorpio. See, I was getting ready to say something, but because I do this all the time, I can see it. But I don't think nobody else will be able to see it. With his, in my opinion, is not saying the same thing hers is. Hers is saying, I'm obsessed with this nigga. Like, this is what it, like, you could just look. I can say it again, but Scorpio. I told you it was coming out of the Scorpio. Her Juno's in Scorpio. So that will move her to him. Her Venus is in Scorpio. That will move. But see, whenever you see Venus at 0 degrees, again, that's like a novice. That's like a newbie. So what I'm trying to tell you, it would tell a story. Like his would say things that match hers. But his really don't say things that match hers. Hers is just tapping into his energy. See, it's like you could call it a karmic connection, a karmic assignment, or this is what you call like a soul, but it's a powerful soul connection. I could see how somebody would think that was their twin. But real twin flames tell stories. Like it's romantic. It's beautiful. Right now I'm looking for her palace. Right, her palace is 18 degrees. Libra. And he's in Sagittarius. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. She has a lot of things that will cause you to fall in love with somebody in Scorpio. And he's like a very powerful Scorpio. Like on his charts, you notice a lot of 8s. That's going to be Scorpio. And then you see Scorpio there. Then you see Leo in the 8th house. He's got a very powerful Scorpio. So I can see how she would be attracted to that. That's like universal stuff, it's going to happen. And then where's her vertex? Okay, now her vertex, again, 0 degrees. See, it's kind of funny because all her signs that could mean love are at, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them that could mean love are all at like 0 degrees. So I would have to tell her, like, be careful in love, because those are like newbie, those are like novice, and those type of people can be like manipulated. And even with him, because Scorpio can be manipulative too. I'm not saying that he is, but they can be. So her Juno is, so that full moon will probably affect her a little bit too, because her Juno, her vertex is 0 degrees Virgo. And then that might kind of connect to his true north node, which is Virgo. So yeah, they would definitely be like soulmates. And see, y'all gotta understand what soulmates. Just like when you see people and they sleep a lot, sleep around a lot. A lot of times those are soul families. That's why I said a soul family could be a lot of people, could be anybody. It just depends. And then your twin flame is the same soul, same body, but that still doesn't mean that you and your twin are gonna be so well connected that y'all gonna get along together. Because usually twin flames go into separation. Like when you really see twin flames that have gotten past all that healing and all that stuff they gotta do, now they can't be fucked with. But there's very rarely, even out here on YouTube, it very rarely. I seen one real twin flame couple out here, and you could tell it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's a black couple. Unbelievable. But a lot of times you get along way better with your soulmate than you do your twin. And that's why a lot of people be with their soulmate talking about, oh, this is my twin, or that person ain't my twin, that's a false twin, or we don't get along. You ain't supposed to. Like your twin flames supposed to break you the fuck down. I guarantee the woman that's gonna break him down is his twin. She gonna break that boy's ass down. So that's why I'm saying I could see why she would think that, or maybe inquire about it. But it's a powerful soul connection, powerful soulmate connection. But that's still primarily because of his Scorpio. And what she's got to realize is his whole personality gonna be magnetic. Like I said, I work with a dude like that, and then them women really do be going crazy. And it was like I said, it was the same way with C Mac. Them females would go crazy. They could barely, like, they were waitresses. They could barely do their job. They would just be staring at them, and we would just sit there be laughing at them, like be laughing like, damn, do your job, bro. And we be cracking up and shit. And where your Lilith is and your Scorpio is like 20 degrees, which is judgment. And then see that's how you start to know y'all two's history or whatever. Cause see where his Scorpio is, Venus is at 20 degrees, and then when you look at your Juno and your Lilith is 20 degrees. So again, it's like whatever it's part of that judgment, part of that Pluto, but it could also be part of that transformation. And then, like I said, with the Neptune and Sagittarius, but that was done so y'all could be able to communicate. And then you got what, Pluto, because the Pluto is in Libra. 16, which yours is 3. But even then, that's why I keep saying. See, 3, we just got finished saying 3 could be an immature energy. See, I keep saying 0 degree, that's somebody that could get manipulated. You got 2 0 degrees, your vertex is 0, your Venus is 0, and then your Pluto's at 3, which is still like that, what they call like that could be manipulated too. But it'll be powerful. But I'm pretty sure it's a soul connection. It's not a twin soul connection. Like this is how you know it's twin soul. Like the ones like Juno, the vertex, they're gonna be in the same signs or similar. Like even if it's not the same sign, it's gonna be connected to the same house or connected. Like, but it tells a story. It's like it's beautiful. It's like the two charts are dancing together. It's beautiful. That's how you know it's twin flame. Otherwise, when it's soulmate, it just be like, okay, Venus and either Virgo or the 6th house, and then he might have like a something over there, similar. Like she might have Venus in Virgo, then he might have Venus in the 6th house. Like that's a soulmate. Sometimes, usually. But when it's a real, it's like you could tell. Because like I said, if I look at yours, if I did it one more time, I would look at your Juno, say she's gonna find herself in a relationship with a Scorpio. And I could also say like Mars or something like that, but I'm not gonna do all that with a Scorpio. So you would see him and you say, okay, well he do got Venus in Scorpio, but but he don't got no Juno or nothing like that. So that wouldn't, that don't really mean nothing. So that's your Juno. True North node, okay, she might find herself in a serious situation with either Capricorn or maybe Sagittarius or something. And then you look at his Capricorn or whatever, and you see Juno. But then you want to look at his Sagittarius. Not a lot. It was, they might say Palace, but not a lot. And then follow his Jupiter. Got the vertex. I can see how they would connect, but it's still soulmate. It's sharing of energy. At the end of the day, it's sharing of energy, but it's very powerful energy, and some of this energy could be romantic. But it is very powerful because even when you look how they both got most of their planets on the other side of the charts and stuff. And it could be, like I said, it'll be powerful. It'll be like deep passion and love, but it's not twin flame. That's all I'm trying to say. And you can see, like, when you see numbers like 20, see, this is transformation. Just like you see Pluto. They both got Pluto in Libra. See, that's transformation. That's not necessarily twin flame. Like, I can't explain it to you. But it's like you could be with somebody and they kind of transform you some type of way, but it's still not like, it's not eternal. That's why if you notice, most of hers are like 0 degrees and 3 degrees and lower degrees and shit. And the one number they got in common, they might have more numbers in common, but the main number they got in common is 20, and that's judgment, and that's the energy is Pluto, which is transformation. So that's the whole purpose of this union right here is transformation, probably for both of them, but and maybe especially for him. But he's got a person coming, I believe is his twin. The sex is gonna be off the hook, and it's gonna devastate him. It's gonna be it's gonna be like hell. It's gonna be heaven and hell, and he's gonna have to heal from it. He's gonna have to recover from it. And who knows? He could be going through it right now. But I know this moon is coming. That this Virgo moon gonna deal with a lot of that. So that's it. Once again, make sure you have the most updated services offered and priceless. And remember, I do anything. I don't just do natal charts. Anything paranormal, any type of research, cards, anything whatsoever. Anything whatsoever. For a lot of things, I do the phone consultation, but it's anything so that people don't think I just do natal charts. But for me, it's the best way to see everything. Because here's the deal. Even if you ain't really listening, at least you still got the video. So you might not listen right now, but you might come back a week, listen more. I tell everybody take a little bit at a time, but at least you can see it, concrete evidence. Because otherwise, somebody just telling you something, that could be anything. Or I see somebody, you're gonna go to the mall next week and you're gonna meet some guy. I see a blackjack, But what about the guy? What's his sign, or What about him? You don't know shit about that dude. Dude could be a serial killer. Like, you got to see the chart. So that's what I'm about. I'm about substantial evidence of what's going on. And I've always believed that when I was little, I would be asking questions about God, and the so-called elders or whatever, the religious men, reverends, or whoever they were, they would be telling me, "Oh, you can't ask a question like that," and they would say, "God's not gonna give you those answers." And I would always say, "Why ain't he? If he's God, why would he not give answers?" And they just was stupid. So I always felt like either y'all lazy and ain't looking, or y'all really don't care enough to really dig deep. And because I would read the Bible, say, if you dig deep, you're gonna seek and you shall find. So I heard God saying one thing from the Bible, and heard humans saying something else. So through all the hell I went through on this planet, I've learned, like, there are answers. You just gotta want them and go. And I tell anybody, y'all gotta get out of that immature way of seeking knowledge. You gotta start to learn how to dig deep and get the truth and stop all that silly stuff. And that's why God made me the way he made me. Because even on my chart, in the 9th house is Aquarius. That's the people, to teach the people. And it's the 9th house is your higher learning, education. And then it's Saturn retrograde. Now Saturn retrograde is no nonsense. Saturn retrograde ain't come here to play games. Saturn retrograde came here to tell you this is what it is, and this is how you can learn it, and no, we're not going to play no bullshit. And believe it or not, when I first came out, I wasn't like that, but people will try to play you out. And it was the Archangels, me getting a deck of Archangel cards from Doreen Virtue and talking with those Archangels and learning, and they were the ones that taught me, no, don't come out here playing games. This is all about the universe. Bring yourself back in universal law as much as you have. If you're back in universal law, it's nothing these little petty dudes can do. They think they can. They think they got all the power. But that's why they gave you the book of Acts. When you read the book of Acts, you're dealing with people dealing with spirit, universal law against the common law, and the common law always lost. For the most part. They did put a few of them to death, though, but for the most part, they lost it. Like, we're still here talking about these apostles. We ain't here talking about, I can't even remember the people they went up against in the book of Acts. So that's what's up. God bless.